ROZ. I'm Roz McCarthy, founder, CEO of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. So happy to be here this afternoon. I'm actually in Los Angeles, California at the CWCB Expo. It's a great conference that's focused on the business of cannabis, has a lineup out of this world. And next to me, I have Mr. Maurice Harper. Introduce yourself,
Hello,
Maurice.
my name is Maurice Harper. I'm a nurse and I am the Director of Health and Education for Minorities for Medical Marijuana.
So as you can see behind us, we're actually in the exhibit hall. It doesn't open for another hour, and so it's 1 o'clock I guess Eastern Standard Time. Here it's 11 o'clock in Los Angeles. So we are so excited to be here. I could not be on the call today and be able to connect with you guys. Let me tell you something. Coming to these conferences is key. Whenever you can. We're working out some things so that we can be able to provide complimentary tickets for those people who financially it is expensive sometimes, but you will be amazed at the people that you meet, the booths, the exhibitors that are here, the education that's offered, the connectivity. It's all about networking. I mean, you can tell them, Maurice, from your
that was one of the amazing things that I found out about coming to conferences like this is you can make connections, you can get with people who get information, you can make contacts, you can network. I've met so many amazing people, and it creates an avenue, and you can talk to different people and get information that you may not know about, or you can find out things that are new and things that can help you.
Right.
So it's definitely a big resource to come to conferences.
So.
Great. So we are actually live now and everything. The streams are up on Facebook. People are tuning in. We've actually, oh my gosh, we've got a decent number of people on the live streams.
Okay, great.
Before we get started, I'm going to start queuing up questions for you guys.
Okay.
Why don't you just kind of tell us what's up at the conference? I mean, you're at the bleeding edge of marijuana business right now, and give all of us who are at home an update.
Absolutely. So this is the actual this is your guide for the conference, and it has a list of people. Let me just give you an idea of some of the speakers that are going to be here, some of the keynote speakers that are here that you would be interested in. We
Kat
have
Packard.
Exactly, Kat Packard, who is the medical marijuana czar for Los Angeles. We have Steve D'Angelo with Harborside Health Center. He's the founder there. You have the CEO and founder of New Frontier Data. You have Rafael de la Cruz, general partner for Universal Brand Ventures. I mean, there's so much information that's shared here. John Downs is with ArcView Group. He's the director of business development. We have Dank Duchess. We have Dank Duchess. She is actually an African-American female. She focuses on concentrates. She's a cultivator and hash maker. Awesome. She has a great following and does some amazing work in the industry. And so if I can just, I mean, the book is full of all these different folks that are here. There's so many different exhibitors. Let me share some of the exhibitors that are here. For example, there's a group, they're called Torch Technology. And Torch is one of the leading manufacturers in vape cartridges, vape pens, and filling machine businesses. So for example, you get a cartridge. If you have a vape pen like this is a vape pen. And they have vape pens, and basically they set up deals for people that want to sell the vape pens at a wholesale. They sell it to you wholesale, you sell it retail. And they have some great products. And that's the type of people that you're going to see here. Not everyone is touching plant. I'm right across from the National Cannabis Insurance Services. You know what they do? They provide insurance services for the industry. And so they're an awesome group. They're here looking to connect the dots, looking at creating programs. So like say, for example, if you're in the insurance industry in New Jersey and you want to offer a cannabis product to those people that are in Jersey, we may be able to connect some dots and get you connected so that you can do that under their brand. So, I mean, it's just incredible people. We have WebJoint that's here.
I was going to mention that
web
software.
Yeah.
So WebJoint is right across from us. And so if you wanted to have an all-in-one retail software, WebJoint is available and they can help you. So there are people, like Roz was saying, ancillary businesses that don't even touch flower. So WebJoint, innovative brand software, they threw a party last night, and so we were able to attend and see some of the great things that they were doing. So if you wanted to, if you're somebody who's really into the computers and into software, and you wanted to be in the industry, then this is a great way to be in the industry and still find a way to be able to participate. So if you need, access to the web and you need to be able to, if you're a retail owner, then WebJoint would be a very good place for you to do business. And like Roz was saying, there's a national cannabis industry that's here, insurance industry. There's also the accountants who help you deal with audits. So for cannabis businesses who, need accountants and help you deal with audits from the state of California and even the IRS. So those are the kind of connections that you want to make, because there's more to cannabis than just selling it. There's lawyers, that can help you. There's cannabis lawyers that can help you deal with zoning. They can help you deal with any of the city or the state laws that would affect you. So it's really important that you come to trade shows so you can get the full circle, the full gamut on everything that would touch your industry or the part of the industry that you're in, because you're going to deal with different people. So you need to be able to, get the tools so that you know how to connect and how to best serve your customers.
Exactly. Number one thing is that this industry is not a single source. There are so many different areas to look into. And I always say, follow your passion. So whatever you're good at right now, just figure out how to translate it over into the industry if this is something that you're interested in doing. So Charles, I'll let you queue up if you got any questions that are coming through.
Yeah, the questions are coming through, but we've got a few people who are in the class. Maybe we should let them ask first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Do we want to just pick someone out of the blue? I guess let's do that. Let's see Shelby Smith. Let's see if we can get Shelby Smith on.
Shelby? Yeah, she's on mute right now.
She's on mute right now.
Yeah, clicking that unmute button.
And by the way, I just want to let you guys see our new T-shirts.
Yay!
And for MM is dope.
And for MM is
we have because we get a lot of people that say that they Minorities for Medical Marijuana does some incredible work. Shout out to the whole entire team, the leadership team, all the members throughout the country, folks that have connected with us through this portal and become members. We appreciate you. And we get, a lot of times people come by and just say, man, you guys are just dope. You do a great job.
Yeah.
And so we just created a little T-shirt line that says M for MM is dope. And on a T-shirt, make sure you email us or go to our website and we'll make sure you get one.
Chuck, we got to make sure you get one.
Yep, Charles.
Charles,
definitely.
We got to get one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shelby, unfortunately, is at work, so can't talk.
Okay.
But let's let Pamela Green talk. Let me add her. I'm going to unmute Pamela.
Hey, how are you? Hi, I'm Kika. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hi. We got a podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
you are?
legend.
I know, exactly. We got a podcast. We got Miss Kiko Beatty.
One other good thing about coming to trade shows is you get to meet legends.
Yeah, you do.
That are in the game.
She is a legend.
And this is.
Hey, everyone.
Say hi.
Say hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello,
Introduce
good
yourself.
morning.
Introduce yourself. We're live on a live broadcast.
Hello, my name is Keiko Beatty. I'm an educator in the industry, and I'm here to be able to share information to elevate this community and industry so we can help more patients.
Tell them how long you've been in the game.
Oh, gosh.
Hustling, that's what we like to say in the Northern Bay Area.
Longer than you've been born on this earth.
and I turned 51.
I'm a seasoned person, which means
she's seasoned and she's awesome. Tell them right quick before we go to Miss Pamela Green. Tell them a little bit about the resort out in Jamaica.
Yes,
I am with Coral Cove Cannabis Resort, which is in Jamaica on the southwest side of the island, just about 20 minutes west in the Grill. It's a first of its kind, all-inclusive cannabis health and wellness education resort, 4-star rating. This includes all your meals, your kayaking, your snorkeling, and for every room, you get about an eighth a day on the cannabis package, all cultivated by the Rastafarian Church.
Yeah, so if you guys are looking for a true cannabis inclusive experience and going to Jamaica, we're going to be talking to Miss Beatty because you know what? M4MM is going to be celebrating our 3rd year anniversary in Jamaica. May 10th of 2019. So we'll be looking at doing it.
I need to hook you up with some stay there, right?
Yeah,
I need to see you kayaking with hopping on something with the Rastafarian Church.
Exactly.
Right.
And do know here at the Cannabis World Conference and Business Expo, we're giving away a trip there too, Coral Cove Cannabis.
Coral,
sweet.
so Coral Cove Cannabis in the Grill, Jamaica. Please make sure you look it up, all inclusive. We are going to be talking about that more. And thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us, man. We appreciate it.
I love it. I want to hang with you all day long. And everybody out there, much love to you.
Absolutely.
And we hope that we can all help patients get their medicine.
That's right.
So many blessings.
Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Keiko.
Thank you, Keiko. Thank you. All right, Miss Pamela Green, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear
All right.
me?
Hi, darling. Where are you from?
Oh, okay. I'm in New York. I'm in Queens.
You're in New York?
Queens, yes. Queens, New York.
Can't hear her.
Can you hear me?
Hold on one second, sweetie. I can't hear you a little bit. Let's get you up a little bit.
Well, let me turn up. Let me see.
Yeah, turn
All right.
turn yourself up a little bit for me.
All right. I said Queens, New York. Yes, I'm in New York.
Okay. So what's your question this morning, this afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon. Okay. Yeah. A couple of things. Like I tune in often to you on here, Roz, and I try to sign up for the New York, New Jersey MM430 chapter. But I didn't hear anything back from anybody. Like I did sign up, but I don't know, something happened. I didn't hear back. I didn't get an email. So I don't know what else to do because I want information on like Kush bottles. I want to like get into the industry that way. And I want like, guidance in that direction.
Okay. So you know what, Charles, can you summarize what Pamela, because her voice, her audio is a little low for me. So can you summarize her question for me?
Yeah, let me do my best. And Pamela, I can hear you okay. So if I goof up what you're saying, feel free to correct me. So Pamela is in New York, and she reached out to I don't know if she reached out to the local New York person or through M4MM.
Okay.
And she's looking for assistance. She wants to join.
Okay.
She hasn't gotten a response. And more importantly, she's interested in the packaging and the bottling side as a way to get in the industry. So why don't we start with the packaging and the bottling side, and then maybe after that, you can give her some advice on that. And then we'll talk about, the communication thing that maybe she filled out the wrong form, or maybe you guys sent an email, or who knows on that front.
And you know what? And things happen. So Pamela, thank you so much for just jumping back on and asking the question. I hope you're dry in New York. I know you guys were going through those flash floods a couple of days ago. New Jersey, New York. I will tell you this: packaging and is an important feature, an important area for the industry. And what I would recommend, and actually I may be able to do this when I walk around the conference this weekend. There's packaging companies that will allow you to work with them. They will wholesale their packaging, and as well as the labeling. So there's two things: you have packaging, and then you have the labeling. They have the labeling machines that allow you to create the graphic art and label the bottles. And so basically you have individuals and companies who may say, hey, I want to private label a product line, but I need someone that can package it up for me, as well as put a label and do that and create the labeling for it. I think it's a strong area to be in, because one thing you don't have to worry about crossing over state lines with any type of product. So you can do it in New York, you can do it in New Jersey. It doesn't just have to be for medical marijuana. It could be for CBD oil. It could be for topicals. It can be for capsules. You just need to, I would say, we need to find a company that wholesales, that has the experience of doing this. And basically what they'll do is they'll put you into the business with all of the information that you need, all the material that you need, as well as they would sell you the products that you need in order to start your wholesaling business, or start your product, your packaging business. Is that something that you want to get into? Like, is that where you feel like you think that's your entryway for you for the industry?
I think so. Yeah. Like,
one of the things I wanted to say about that too is with packaging too. When you're packaging, there's also what's been going on is a lot of people that have been stealing people's packaging or labels. They've been false advertisements. So one of the things that you want to do in packaging too is you want to be able to set up holograms on the packaging so that people know that they're getting the authentic product. So consider that too. That on the labeling or on the packaging, you want to maybe put up some stuff for counterfeiters.
So, hey, Pamela, if you got a pen, I want you to write this number down, this information. It's a group called the Platinum Packaging Group, and it offers a unique range of flexible packaging films, containers, and pouches. Vertical, horizontal, or tray lid applications, we have a solution. We offer a wide range of custom packaging solutions to fit your needs. Their website is www.platinum, PLATINUM, P as in Paul, K as in kite, group, GROUP.com. Their number is 562-630-6700. First and foremost, go to their website and check out how all the list of services they offer. And then you go on there, there may be a link that says if you want to partner with them or if you want to be able to work with them, and they end up putting you into, sometimes people will put you into the business. They will take a percentage of your business, but they'll give you all the resources, all the tools. They'll give you all of the trade secrets of how to get into the business. And you basically do a revenue share of new business that you bring in. And so that way you're not starting from scratch, that you have someone that you can basically take their formula and just revamp it and go after new business. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. Thank you.
Okay. And then that's just one company. But if you were to Google like other different packaging companies in the cannabis industry, you'll find other ones. But try that one first and look at how they have some things set up, and then go from there. And then what I'm going to also do is make sure that while I'm here in LA, I'll walk around and see if there's any other packaging companies that have information that might be applicable to what you want to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then just email me directly, M for MM, M as in Mary, the number 4, United at Gmail. That goes to my assistant, Vanessa, and she'll send you the link to get you on board as a member. And we'll make sure we take care.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ryan.
You're welcome, my love. And stay focused and stay in the game and come back, whenever you need some questions or if you need something, just always come back. We're here for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. Who do we have next?
Great. I'm going to, let's do Jeffrey Jackson. So we're going to bring Jeffrey Jackson on. And while we're waiting for Jeffrey, I don't know if there's...
You have a question you might want to throw out there, Charles?
I do. Actually, my question is, what is the one thing that you're most excited about at the show? Let's ask both ROZ. Let's ask both of you guys.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Okay. I think the most, I get excited actually being able to connect the dots with people that are like, for example, to be honest with you, I always walk away and meeting new people or people I haven't met that are in the industry, that are in the business, and they're doing something that is so new and you guys don't know about it, but you count on me to give you the information. Like National Cannabis Insurance Services, I never heard of them before in my life, didn't know there was that type of insurance company that existed. Well, I kind of knew, but I just hadn't met anyone that's in the industry. And now I may be able to take their information, connect them to other people that are in the insurance business, that are members of the organization, that are wanting to get into the industry, and they're in the insurance industry already, and make a match and make sure that not only does their business grow, but now there's another product line of business that's available for our members. And at the end of the day, you guys, whenever I do what I do for M4MM, my number one prayer is for me to stay humble as a person and to make sure I continue helping people. And these connections that I make here, I go back and I figure out how do I churn that information out and share it with our members, share it with our followers, so that you guys are having not to start from scratch, that you have someone that's out here getting the information and sharing it back with you. And hopefully it's going to help you to grow and to figure out your place in this industry. So it just always makes me feel good and I love it. So that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So what excites me the most about being here? So I've been in this industry. I started last year, but to be honest with you, it feels like I've really only been in it for maybe 3-4 months. So when I get to come to events like this, the excitement that I get to meet so many people. By profession, I'm a nurse, and so when I get to go around and I meet, the different people who are providing medications and the applications for it and how they deliver it, the delivery methods, I'm always amazed by that. The new information that I get as a nurse that isn't taught in nursing schools or things that aren't done in hospitals, because of, you know, what the legality issues of cannabis. So when I get to learn about those different, you know, methods, you know, it just excites me as a nurse. The other things that excites me is the technology that I get to see that I never got to see before. You know, how people, there's a machine that actually sorts out the bud into different sizes. And so that was exciting to see that. The people that I get to meet and the connections and the relationships that I get to foster is also something that is exciting to me. The different people I get to meet, the people that I get to meet who were influential in where cannabis is today. I met the first man to ever open up a cannabis store in a dispensary in LA. I met the brother who had a bill, had a bill about his son in New York for epilepsy. Well, I did, you know, I'm in California, and had it not been for this trade show, I may have never met him. So being able to meet people like that is just so incredible. And the guest speakers, you know, I'm sitting next to the best one anyway, but you know, the guest speakers, Cat Packard I met today. There are other people that I'm going to meet. Some people that I'll see again. And then the other thing too is they see my face. And as I'm giving out my business card, giving them my name, and they get to see me over and over again, like I said, we foster those relationships and continue to build upon them. So to me, that is what's exciting about being at the trade show. Not to mention, every once in a while, there's a little bud action that goes on. So I like that too. Keep it real.
No, that's great. That's great. I think we're all jealous, especially everyone who's watching in from non-legal states.
Well, I think you got some exciting things that you're going to share that we're going to try to create an opportunity for folks to come to these conferences. Let me tell you guys something. We're going to be joined at the hip with the Jarvis Project. With the Black Business School and the Cannabis Investing School and the things they're doing. They have some incredible content and ideas and things that are coming out. And M4MM and all of our team, we're going to be joined at the hip. And so we want to create opportunities so that folks that are listening, that are committed, that as these conferences are coming around, we're going to try to create an opportunity for you to attend, to experience this for yourself and really get a chance to learn, first off, of what exactly takes place here. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great. So I wasn't able to get Jeffrey working, but I'm going to promote Mary B. Mary B, I'm going to unmute you. And now I'm going to take a question from the Facebook audience. So speaking of legalization, we have Vivian Gully. Let's see. Hello. Thank you for everything, Roz. You're the greatest. First, I live in a state where it's not legalized yet, but I know that I can still make a profit. The information that I have received thus far just has not been informative at all. What resources can I use to help me get over my hurdle to get on the ground floor before legalization hits?
Yeah. And so
what state is she in first?
Do we know what state?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's a Facebook comment, so maybe she'll add to it.
No problem. This is what I want you guys to think about. When you have to be an influencer in this industry, if you're in a state where there's not legalization yet, think about, okay, how do I start influencing? How do I start getting my face out there? How do I start getting people to know who I am and what sector of the industry I want to be in? So there's groups like Normal, there's groups like M4MM, there's groups like Drug Policy Alliance. These are folks that are out here creating public policy. You want to find out, remember guys, I told you, go to Google Alert, put in your Google Alert and put in medical marijuana, put in cannabis, put in your state, and you got to be ahead of the curve in knowledge. You got to know what's going on from a public policy standpoint, to an education standpoint, social justice, of what's happening in your state. If your state's not legal right now, they're talking about getting legal.
Yep.
They're talking about either what's it going to look like, what's going to happen, what are some of the things that are going to be important. And so you need to be a part of those conversations. And if those conversations are being held, and if there's an M for MM chapter there, we want to be a part of that. We want to say, listen, we know different states that have past precedent of lobby, of legal, of language, legislative language, that we want to make sure that's included, so that people of color, communities of color, have a chance to participate from an economic standpoint. So anyone that's listening to me, if you're in a state and you're like, what do I need to do right now? First, if you want to start a business, get your business registered. Come up with a name. Come up with your brand. Do a little quick website. Think about exactly how you want to, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do in the industry has already been done. Just go and emulate it. It's okay. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go find a business that's already doing it and figure out how do you duplicate it and make it work for your state.
One other thing I want to say about that too is, if you're in a state that's not legal yet, then ROZ is wise to tell you, find out what they're thinking, and you may need to be the person that tells them what they need to think. So definitely use us as a resource so we can help feed them, because they don't know.
Right.
And so, they may just be looking at the revenue and listening to people say they want to do it, but they don't know what they need to do. So you need to spoon feed them what they need to say. And
this book right here,
yep,
I did this in 2017. I created a binder. Hi, everybody. I'm telling you, we're live here at the show, so we have people passing by us, but we did a binder in 2017. And this binder was a recommendation of legislative of language for the legislators in the state of Florida, because we want to give them our ideas on what should be included in the bill. You don't have to be an M for MM. You can just be a Mary, a Joe, a Bobby. It doesn't matter. You can say, listen, I want to make sure that I want to share ideas. Call your local congressman, find out exactly what they're thinking about in regards to your state and in regards to legalization, and you want to be a part of that conversation. But first and foremost, know that you don't have to worry about reinventing the wheel. Whatever business that you want to get into, you can make sure it happens. Just find out who else is doing it and figure out how to emulate and go from there.
Yep. And definitely use us as a resource. That's what we're here for. So if you have a question, or you just need us to shoot you something, or want to know what the language that we wrote, or what worked in this state or worked in that state,
we'll send it to you free. You don't have to worry about it. It's no stress. It's no, we don't mind. We share information gladly, and so whatever we need to do, we can help you and support you.
Great. Let's see if we can get Mary B on now. I'm going to unmute Mary B.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
We got the snap.
Doesn't look like that's working. Maybe I'll put her on mute again. And,
okay.
I'll reach out if, let's see, I'll just pick someone else. Let's see, Libra Hampton, we're going to have you come up next if you have something to say. So I'm going to click allow to talk, but I've got a bunch of questions also that are piling up.
Okay.
We obviously want to give people in the class preference. So I'm going to click allow to talk, and let's ask one question first. Now, this gentleman's asking a question. It's a good question. I'm not going to bring up his name.
Okay.
It's a little, I guess it's a little, I don't know if negative's the right term or defeatist, but let me say this, and I think obviously this is an important reason for why M for MM exists, and let's talk about solving problems.
Okay.
So the gentleman said, last I heard, only one black woman in the country owns a dispensary. They will never let us in, so you can spend a lot of money and never get anything in this business, and don't believe the hype. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot to say about that, so I will let you speak.
I do. And you know what? And first and foremost, I want to acknowledge the stress. Now, I shouldn't say stress, but acknowledge the fact that it will make you feel like the way that it's set up right now, and knowing that there's not a lot of black people that are owning dispensaries, it makes you feel like, you know what, we'll never have an opportunity to participate in this industry. And I get it. So don't, and I respect how you feel. I would like to say that there's more than just one, Black female that's in the industry. The female that he's talking about is actually Wanda James, and she's on the cover of Cannabis and Technology. They're actually their booth is right next to ours, and this just came out yesterday. She's a dispensary owner in Denver, Colorado. There's other people of color, and especially women of color. They're doing some fantastic things. There's Dr. Shonda Macias. She's in Washington, D.C. She has a National Holistic Center. She's an awesome lady. She's a biotech, just a giant, and she's the chairwoman of Women Grow. And she owns not only National Holistic Center, she also is about to start another dispensary in the D.C. area. I'm proud to say that we have Hope Wiseman, and Hope Wiseman is our chapter president for Maryland, and she has a grand opening of her dispensary this weekend in Maryland called Mary and Maine. There's also Jesse Horton, the founder of MCBA, which is a Minority Cannabis Business Association. He doesn't have a dispensary, but he's a cultivator. I have a young man out in Oakland. He doesn't have a dispensary, but he has a delivery service. He's licensed, he's permitted. His name is Quentin. So there's folks that look like us that are getting in. Is it equitable? No. Is it where it should be? No. I will say right now, out of the 3,700 people that touch plant, that have licenses, cultivating, dispensing, manufacturing, processing, only about 1% to 2% are people of color. And this is why we have the Jarvis Project. This is why we have Minorities for Medical Marijuana. This is why we have the California Minority Alliance. This is why we have Latinos for Cannabis. This is why we have the Cannabis Cultural Association. These are organizations and associations who are committed to trying to level that, I don't even want to say level the playing field, but just increase equity and opportunity. This is why you have the social equity program in Los Angeles, the social equity program in Oakland. Yeah. We are trying our best, and I don't know if it's there's a lot to be noted that has to be changed, and with some of these programs. But we are real. I think folks realize that our piece of being able to participate in this industry is not where it needs to be, and it needs to be higher. It needs to be higher participation, not only from a plant touching standpoint, but an ancillary business standpoint. So please know that, whoever sent that question in, I hear you, brother. I understand where you're coming from. Just know that there is progress, and we as an organization are trying to push people to ownership and equity, not equality, but equity. Equity means that you have ownership. We don't want to consume all the time. We want to be producers versus just consumers. So I feel you, and I understand where you're coming from.
Definitely.
I understand. Hey, before you go, Charles, I want to introduce someone that just came through. We're live here at the conference, and this young man is here, a part of the conference. Introduce yourself to our live podcast that we have with the Jarvis Project.
Hi, good morning. My name is Osiris Steffen. I'm a business development specialist with the Cannabis World Congress. I've been with the company for 2 years, and just basically enjoying myself here and working with the company and helping develop it, as well as introducing people of color to this industry.
Tell them about all the different vendors, and how do you get the exhibitors to come on board, and just the opportunity to come here and participate and come to this conference wherever you go, because you guys go to New York and Boston.
Yeah, so basically most of our work is just reaching out to companies that are up and coming, or companies that have been in existence for a while, and we have them come here and they just basically host their booths here and just show their works, whether it's the working with the plant, whether it's the machinery, whether they're looking to develop businesses or even consult. We cover from seed to sale, so opportunities are out there.
Right, exactly.
When they come out of games, we do 3 shows a year. It starts off in New York, then it goes to LA, and then we end up in Boston.
Right.
Right now, we're looking at New York to go recreational in 2020.
Yes.
So a lot of people have been waiting to see that happen, and there's a big buzz. And that's going to be one of our biggest shows. So there's going to be a big focus on the Northeast, especially looking at Boston as well.
Absolutely. I just want to thank you, Osiris, right? Osiris. And Christine. Christine is the and her family are the founders of this trade show, and they're the ones that gift M for MM. We have this booth, and they gift that to the organization. They gift us complimentary passes to these conferences for some of our members and some of the folks that are part of the group or what have you. So we thank you, brother, for just supporting what the mission. You're not just talking about it, but you support the mission of the organization and what we're doing, and you're walking the walk. And we appreciate you.
Well, this all started for me because of my son. because he uses cannabis oil for his epilepsy. He was diagnosed with epilepsy about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And that's what brought me to where we are now, where the gentleman who introduced me to cannabis, because I never thought that that's something I'm going to be using to help my son, because, you know, you come from background, you know, with the negativity, the, you know, demonization of cannabis.
Right.
I would never thought I would be using that to treat my son.
Right.
And now he's basically able to go to school. He's learning. He's 5 years old. He's healthy, and it's completely changed our lives.
Beautiful, right? It just, I mean, it makes, it's incredible of knowing the difference that this, I mean, listen, we should not forget the medical aspect of this plant and how it's been demonized all these years, and now that the fact that the naturalness. I met a gentleman yesterday, and he's a scientist. He's a chief science officer for one of the companies, and he talks about concentrates and cultivating. And he says the one thing he doesn't want to happen is he doesn't want people to take this plant and try to manufacture it and try to duplicate it. Let the plant itself and all the complexities of the plant do the work and do the job, because it really can. I mean, it's incredible. The things that can happen, and we don't want the big pharmas and people to try to take one component of the plant and try to duplicate it. Just let the plant in its wholeness do the job. And in the delivery systems, it's not about smoking or rolling up a joint. There are so many different delivery systems. How does your son take his oil, or does he have oil?
He takes oil every morning. We do it. We have a dose 3 times a day.
Okay.
And it has to have a little bit of THC, which helps him level him off. So
right.
it works. That's the best thing we can say, because he was having about 100, 200 seizures a day.
Wow.
Now we got him down to about maybe 3 or 5, if that, and he functions like nothing ever happened.
Wow.
And so it's a game changer for us, and it also pushed us to look at the whole picture. It's not just my son. We're looking at all the children, especially in New York. So we have a bill that we pushed out that was supported by our senator, Senator Brian Benjamin in New York. It's called the S8191, and it's called Township's Law. It's where it allows children who are under these conditions under the medical marijuana program be able to receive their medicine while they're at school.
That's awesome.
So right now it's still waiting to be voted on, and right now it's possibly get an executive order through Governor Cuomo.
And let me tell you something: when things like that happen, and it happens in one state, what happens is that we take that same legislation and take that and we take it to another state, because there's kids in school that have the need for their medicine. We should not demonize this, that we should be able to have this offered to them so they can live and they can be functional and be the kids they're supposed to be, despite whatever the medical condition is. So thank you so much for coming over. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, we're back, Charles.
Great. I think we have Libra Hampton up next. So let me mute her, and let's make sure the tech is working and everything, and she can speak up. So
hi, Libra. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, Libra, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Remind me where you're from.
Brooklyn, New York.
I remember. Did you hear the young man that was just talking about his son in New York and what he's trying to do up there?
Yeah, I heard.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's great.
What's your question for me?
I really didn't have a question. I was looking into this High Times IPO. I just wanted to get your input on the status of cannabis magazines, and what you think about their success rate in the business right now.
Now, I'll tell you what. Let me. I didn't realize until. Actually, I had a conversation yesterday, but realizing the breadth and depth of High Times. And High Times is a magazine, is a periodical publication, has been around for years. And they have a lot of ancillary pieces to their business besides just the magazine. So I didn't realize they do like all these different ventures outside of the US, in like Amsterdam and in Germany and things of that nature. So I heard something about their IPO as well. And what I would do if I were you, go and look at the whole, just go and do some research about the organization, because I didn't even know the breadth and depth. It's not just High Times, the magazine, but if you look at all of the different ancillary businesses that are under the High Times brand, and that's what I would look for. And I'm sure if there is an initial public offering, there's going to be some type of information about the company that you can look up. And so I would do, maybe your search could be something like, initial public offering overview about High Times. Maybe put that in Google. There should be something that overviews exactly their revenue, all of the different business models that are under the brand, all that stuff that you want to understand. to understand, where they're going and where their future is looking. And I just didn't realize that High Times has over 20 like cannabis cups that they're responsible for. So they have been in the industry for over, since the 70s.
Yeah, over like 40 years.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
they have a website set up for the IPO. I was looking through that, and then they had a webinar on YouTube. I viewed
Okay.
that the other day, and I was like you said, they have a lot of other components to it, and they had this thing called High Times TV.
Okay.
I was on their website looking over it last night. But
Well,
it is.
I will tell you this: like, there's going to be people. You're going to have. I want to show you something right quick. So I'm here, and this is Dank City. I had never heard of them before, but I went through and looked at all of their different business like sub brands. Some of the things they have on here, it basically is it's a network of over 100 million people, and so and it's cannabis enthusiasts. And so basically, Dank City has a booth here, and they're just talking about their content creators. So the more that you see people, content is king. And I had this conversation yesterday about it and how we have to create content, because that's going to be what your consumers are looking for. And once you can monetize your content, that's revenue coming in, and that's how people are able to look at their organizations and their businesses and say, listen, I can show you the revenue that we're going to build and our projection as time goes on. So Dank City not only is talking about content creation, they have an email campaign, a list of 800,000 plus people, their website of 25,000 unique visits. They have a print magazine of 100,000 monthly circulation. They have a subscription box marketing, 15,000 monthly circulation. They have their social media management. They have festivals. They have the Weed Tube. They have something called the Weed Tube. And then they have a dispensary marketing. And then they have a social media growth and their website development. So I'm just showing you as an example, because what this company is doing is saying, listen, we're not just going to be a print publication company. We're going to have all these different tentacles. We're going to have festivals. We're going to have TV. We're going to have email marketing campaigns. And that's what you want to see. Look at those numbers for High Times, and media is everything. And if you can create content is king. That's where the money is, and that's and that is a good bet when you talk about someone that's in the industry from that perspective of putting your money. I would definitely look at it seriously.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get your input on that. Thanks.
Yeah, it's so funny that you asked me about that, because I just had a conversation about High Times yesterday and looking at everything. So I think your question was timely, and definitely anything else that comes up, make sure you come back on. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Roz.
You're welcome, baby.
Great. I'm going to go back to Facebook comments now, or Facebook questions. Oh, this is a interesting one. Kavanaugh, our friend that's having all sorts of issues. Now, we don't want to get into the other stuff, but would be curious to get your opinion. Does a Kavanaugh nomination or acceptance potentially impact federal legalization?
And say it again now?
Kavanaugh, he's the Supreme Court Justice who's been going through some. So if he came through or became elected, I'm not sure, that's not the right term, but if he passed nomination,
right,
what would that affect federal legalization? Would it not? Would anything?
No, not at all. You remember, you have three branches to the government. You have your executive branch, your judicial branch. Your executive branch is your president. Your legislative branch is your Congress and your House of Representatives, and you have judicial, which is all of your justices. So you set law in the legislative side of the branch, and so the legislative bodies have to come together and have to agree on wanting to legalize. Until that happens, and normally that doesn't happen until you have someone at the executive level who's saying, listen, I think that we need to really seriously look at this, and they really want to push this forward to legalization. So until we have someone at the executive level that really wants to push legalization, I don't think that you're going to see it happen. And I don't think Kavanaugh, if put in as a Supreme Court justice, will be able to affect it one way or another. His job is to be able to then interpret the law, and so that if there's any type of case law, any type of attorneys or lawsuits that are dealing with let's say cannabis issue or what have you, he will take the law, interpret it, and be able to render a judgment. But he's not going to be the one that's creating the law. And so right now, that's why it's so important. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we are a part of Black Voters Matter. We're going to be working with them as an organization to make sure that we just engage and that we get registered. If you're not registered to vote, making sure that we get registered, that we vote, because you have to vote in these people in order to change the law. And in order to get someone that's going to change the law at a federal level, it takes your attorney general, it takes your, all these different appointees, but it starts with the president. And whoever the president is, he really sets the tone as to what's going to happen for legalization.
Wow, that's pretty great. I'm going to ask another question from Facebook, but we'll put Herbert Jacobs on the line too coming up next. So Herbert, if you're on, I'm clicking allow to talk. And we'll ask one more question to Roz before we get to you.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out to these guys. These are our next door neighbors. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm with STM Canna and Cannabis and Tech Today.
Aaron, STM Canna.
Absolutely. And so we are live with them here at the CWCB Expo, and they are in Cannabis and Tech Today. And so we had someone ask a question about, Wanda and about the Black female that owned the dispensary. And so she's actually on their magazine cover. They're our next door neighbor. Shout out to Wanda James and all the great work that she's doing, and she's on their cover, and we're going to be working with them as well. And so I just want them to introduce themselves and say hi to the group here.
Hi, guys.
Hey guys,
all right.
All?
All right. Thanks, guys. You're welcome. All right. So what's your question, Charles? What you got for me?
Here's an interesting one. The business of locking, let me think, how do I write this? Or how do I say this in a positive way? How does the business of prison and everything, is that going to prevent large-scale recreational legalization in certain areas?
Well, let me tell you something. It's definitely I will put money that the people that are responsible are these private companies that are having contracts with the state of Florida, with the state of New Jersey, with the state of California to administer, to support the prison complexes. They're responsible. Basically, nowadays, you don't see a whole entire state that's running these complexes. They actually outsource it to organizations and businesses who manage the prison complexes. And of course, they get paid on a per day basis, per head, per body. So you can imagine if you start seeing legalization, if you have a high percentage of people that have been arrested and in prison for marijuana, and if you see that change because of legalization, that's going to affect their bottom line. And it's just honest. And so I will tell you now that there's probably lobbyists that's within their organizations that's probably lobbying Congress at a national level and saying, hey, don't legalize. You don't want to do this because actually it will tap into their dollars. And they are publicly traded companies who are looking at this like it could be a serious impediment to their business. Now, for us, it's the right thing to do from a social justice to be able to change the laws. You can't legalize in every state and not change the laws at a national level. And that's why we fight for it. And also get some folks that are in jail right now, get them out of jail. If you have some folks that have these blemishes on their record, let's get those blemishes removed. And so we know that there's going to be a national expungement day that's happening very soon in October. And I'll have more information next week about that. But it's going to be talking about expunging records and getting people, getting their records cleaned up so they can get out there and be productive and get jobs and not have to worry about those blemishes that may be on their record for a small possession.
Because the jobs that they're talking about will go away, will come back because of legalization.
Right.
That legalization actually creates jobs, and then it gets us out of that social injustice with prisons. I actually worked in the Department of Corrections for the state of California and for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. And it is crazy when you see Black and brown people incarcerated at 4 to 5 times the rate that the whites are incarcerated, and then their prison sentences are 20% longer. The city of Seattle, who is very cannabis friendly, just had to vacate their misdemeanor marijuana possession convictions from 1999 to 2010. The reason why they did it is because African Americans only make up 7% of the population in Seattle. However, they accounted for 46% of those convictions. So, you know, they have to turn around and look at that and say, wait a minute, this is not right. So from a standpoint of it, only is it not equitable in the business of cannabis, but it's also not equitable in how the justice system has dealt with, illegal cannabis. And so we have a lot of work to do. We got to burn the candle at both ends and get rid of this and make a change. The only way we can make a change is that we all get together. We can't do it like this, nor can we do it like this. We have to come together and win this fight.
Exactly. So that's a great question, Charles. Thank you so much. I see you got Herbert up here. Herbert, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Roz.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Remind me where you're from again.
I'm from Atlanta, South Carolina.
Okay. All righty. Very good. What's your question or comment?
Well, I didn't really have a question for Charles unmuted me, but in light of the social justice, yeah, but in light of the social justice discussion you've had, I do have a question.
Yes.
And I realize that you aren't necessarily legislators or lawyers, but given that there are a number of people who have felonies on their records because of alleged or convicted involvement in marijuana, let's say.
Right.
You're talking about expunging those records.
Yes, sir.
Which would probably make them a little bit more eligible for employment, once they have been released from the penal system. My question is, realistically, how, in your opinion, what's the probability that there will be this mass expungement of these folks who have these records, let's say 10 years from now, assuming that all, the nation decriminalizes marijuana, for example.
Right. Well, the expungement piece may not happen at a national level, but I think you're going to see some states that are legalizing. Like, for example, the governor from Vermont, actually, when they legalize and they have not only medical program, but they have a adult use program. He immediately vacated, anyone that had a certain like adjudication withheld. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know all the different lingo, what have you. But there's some folks that have either they may have a minor marijuana possession, or they went to court and they, instead of pleading guilty, they basically pleaded no contest. Like not guilty, not innocent, but like So these are called adjudication withheld, and basically it's still a blip on their record. What we're concerned about is, let's say for example, you go and you're getting you got to get a house rental, and nowadays people are doing background checks, and so folks see something like maybe you have a marijuana possession, maybe you have 2 marijuana possessions on there, but simple possession, adjudication withheld. And that ends up slanting someone's opinion of you, even though you're working full time, even though you have the income to pay for it, even have the credit. They may see something as small as that slants their opinion about allowing you to have that rental or what have you. All we want to do is, we know we can't help and save everybody, but if we have someone out there, if you have a small blip on your record, if you have something that you're like, man, that came up again, and you want to get it removed, we want to be able to promote and push these legislators to automatically do it. And if they're not automatically doing it, we want to hold these expungement clinics because you can get your record expunged, but the expungement clinic, what that does is, instead of you having to pay out of your pocket, because a lot of times we have different barriers that stop us from getting expungements done, like the cost, like the process, like understanding after the process, the follow-up. So what we want to do as an organization, and as these other national, expungement day programs or what have you, we want to be able to, basically knock out barriers, no cost to get to the attorney. So imagine being able to come to a place to pre-qualify. When we look up your record, we see if you qualify based upon the jurisdiction in your county, because it's county and state jurisdiction and information that you have to cross-reference to make sure they qualify. So you would have the Dade County clerk of court. You would have the district attorney's office for the state of Florida, someone in that area, in that region, there at the expungement clinic. So basically, you pre-qualify folks. You see if they would qualify. If they qualify, then you say, okay, come back for day 2, and we're going to start the process of expunging your record. And you know what? It may not be the panacea. It may not be helpful for everybody. But honestly, if we have 100 people that come in, and if 100 people get their record some type of way expunged, and 20% it ends up changing their lives to either give them access to health care, access to housing, access to a better job, access to things they weren't being able to access before, I'll take that 20% versus the 0% every single day. And it's just somebody has to do it. We all have to pitch in and make it a priority to say, listen, folks that are in jail right now for cannabis, you know, and especially if they're talking about that there was intent to distribute or something of that nature, let's look at their sentence. Let's see if we can, you know, shorten their sentence and get them out. Let's see if we can get them back on the road of where they need to be, especially if that's a one-time offense. There's different, I guess, different scenarios for different people, but we need to look at how to investigate it and see if there's opportunities to change some lives. And that's kind of where we are right now, Herbert. Okay.
One other thing I'll ask related to what you just said. It appears to me that could take on a potential gigantuan bureaucratic organization, and then we'd be looking at funding. So just to play the devil's advocate, they always say the devil's in the details, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
So, you're right. You're right.
Given that scenario that you're talking about, would the objective be to get states to fund such a program?
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right. And not only that, let me give you a statistic. In Denver, Colorado, they accumulated over $37 million worth of taxes were assessed, or you know, they created $37 million worth of tax revenue in Denver, which has a population of 600,000 people. So just imagine this tax revenue that's being collected in these different cities and states and municipalities. If the state legislators won't allocate money, then we as an organization and we as people that are in these areas need to go back to these folks and say, hey, listen, you need to allocate some of this money towards doing some expungement clinics, because you're absolutely right. You can't do the clinics with no money. And right now, I will tell you that in the state of Florida, where our corporate office is, last year I put in the budget for some funding for us to do it. And Senator Randy Bracey actually is an African-American senator, does a great job in the state of Florida, in Orange County, Florida. He was supportive of that funding for us. Unfortunately, we didn't get the funding because at the end of session this past year in 2018, that's when they had the Parkland shootings in Florida. And that a lot of the money, the discretionary budget money that's there for these type of programs got soaked up, but because they wanted to put funding towards gun control and towards having more security in the schools in Florida. So our commitment this year is to go back to Florida, go back to Senator Bracey, go back to our legislators and say, hey, we want to put this budget money in again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, get the funding, show that we can do the work, and show that we can have the outcome studies and then be able to have that as a past precedent. So that if you want to do it in Georgia, if you want to do it in Alabama, now there's been organizations who have shown they can go to the legislators, get budget money specific to doing expungement clinics and get it done. And people just need to make sure that when you get that funding, that you do what you say you're going to do, and that you're able to affect the lives that you say you can affect. And that's where we start. So I got to start at one, you know, I got to start slowly, but my goal, fingers crossed, is once I get one state going, I can get another state going and another state going, and we can either get money from legislators or tap into the tax money that's being generated in these different states, like Nevada. California is reported they'll have over $4 billion in tax collected every single year from the sale of cannabis. So that money needs to go back to expunge some records and get some people back on the right road.
All right, thank you, Roz.
Thank you so much. I think those are smart questions, Herbert. Anyone that's listening to me, if you want to help us and volunteer, you don't even have to be a member of M4MM. You just may say, hey, I just want to help and volunteer. You know, reach out to us via our website, www.m4mmunited.org, and just say, hey, I want to volunteer. I want to be an ambassador. I love what you guys are doing. You know, if you want to be a member, great. But, you know, sometimes it's not about membership. We need people like you that's being that you can be that check and balance for it, because I don't know everything, and maybe sometimes I need, we need that you folks out here to say, listen, what about this? So just know that we appreciate you. We want you to be a part of us. I thank you guys for your time today. It's 2:05 p.m. It's Friday, so I hope you have a great weekend out there. And Charles, I know that we've kind of gone over our time, but thank you so much for your help in reading out the questions for us.
Alrighty, well, enjoy the show, and thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye, everyone.
I'll see you next week.